say for the most part, disqualified from that. Like the Gnostic texts, they didn't want us to read the Gnostic texts.
Right. Well, not necessarily. They called the apocryphal books. The
Well, yeah, the
apocryphal
apocryphal
books.
books, and then later on, the Gnostic, anything
Right.
that was
So
given gnosis knowledge, we weren't supposed to have that. We were just supposed to believe.
right. So they got several different groups of information that comes from this understanding of missing books of the Bible. First, source material. Because when you source material back, it's a book called Black Gods Who Wrote the Bible. No, Black Africans Who Wrote the Bible, right? Because the Bible was written by Etruscan Moors for the purpose of military conquest, and it was compiled and rewritten, I should say, based off ancient texts in order to control the narrative. And the
True.
controlled narrative is what Rome has been doing the whole time.
True.
I used to always hear my father say, when you look for the troublemaker, all roads lead to Rome. I don't know what he's talking about. But when I followed it religiously, I ended up with the Nicene Council in 325 AD. When I
Right.
followed it back politically, I ended up with something called Plato's Republic. When I followed it back socially, I ran into something called a Greco-Roman Empire. When I ran it back uh, from a athletic perspective, I ended up with the Olympiad. So I always ended up in Rome.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started tracing the dirt doers back, they went straight to Rome. They went to the Nicene Council, 325 and 327. They went back to the ancient writer Origen, who was what they call a first century philosopher. They went back to Saint Augustus, another first century writer of Christendom. How can they be first century writers of Christendom when Christendom don't come about into the 300s? So they lying to us automatically.
Then you had the council of, what's it called, Chalcedon of 451, where they
Mm-hmm.
put together the edict of what the Bible was going to be good for. You know what I mean? Um,
Right. So this
here,
is when they was.
yeah. Can I read that just a little paragraph sentence?
Yep.
It says this council of the Roman Catholic Church, this wise and saving creed, the gift of divine grace, was sufficient for a perfect understanding and establishment of religion. So, for its teaching about the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit is complete, and it sets out the Lord's becoming human to those who faithfully accept it. So, agenda. They created religion. They created the characterization and the deity of God as a part of what they were doing, and it's in their writings.
Yeah. So it's never been a secret. I was going over the bloody oath of the papacy to murder the kings, princes, and people of the land. With young elder. Because they put this stuff in the public domain, but most of us don't know we really seriously is in a spiritual war. In spiritual warfare, you have to fight it spiritually, and the effects is going to trickle down to the physical. If you try to fight it physical first, that's like putting the cart in front of the horse,
Right.
right? You going out the world ass backwards, as my father used to say, right? So, when you put everything in its proper place, don't give it a judgment, and then step back and look at the big picture, right? So they wrote all of the dirt down that they was gonna do before they done it. That's to absolve them from karmic debt before they do the act. Because now, if you agree to follow through with what they said they were going to do, that was your free will being exercised. They just influenced it. That's why they say the devil don't never tell you what to do. He just suggests it to you. It's just a strong suggestion by a power base that appears to be legitimate. And the appearance of legitimacy is predicated on the paperwork. Because if you don't have the degrees, you should not have the knowledge. Right? Which takes me to the next phase of my incarceration, where I thought I was doing all this studying in vain. So here we are 5, 6 years later from hearing this lady in the day room in Cook County telling me to get a PhD. And I'm getting headaches from reading so many books so fast. Right? And the headaches is to the point where they're annoying to me that I don't want to read no more. Right? I don't know nothing about the nutritional burning that the brain is doing. But we go to a Black History celebration, and sister brings in a African dance corps. She was out of Detroit, and she don't know what this lady said when I was in that day room. And she sat there and she said, "Some of y'all gonna get tired. Y'all gonna think y'all doing everything for nothing. Y'all gonna feel like it's a waste of time, and that you doing a whole lot of research and studying in vain because it's not getting you nowhere." She said, "But don't let that deter you. Get your PhD anyway."
So here, it was like a divine relay system. One passed the baton to the next to come, and when you needed a recharge, when you were about to, your battery was running down, when your faith in what you were doing was running down, then the Most High, Big Mama, sent in reinforcement to
Right.
reinforce what you've been
So
told.
when I used to get
Let me see.
spiritual,
See, y'all, they messing with us. Let me see. Let me see if he comes back in, y'all. Okay, let me get him back. Are you there? Can you hear? Say something?
can you hear me now?
Now I hear you. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So can you repeat
So
that
I was
last thing?
saying, yeah, I was saying after the lady said that the second time, I went and talked to my mother on a visit. She had came up that following weekend. And I said, "Mama, the strangest thing happened to me." And I told her the story of the first lady. And I said, then last week this lady came in here, or earlier this week the lady came in and said, and I told her the story of the second lady. And my mama said, "That's the Lord talking to you, baby. You need to listen." She said, "But you're going to hear it from somewhere else. Just pay attention." So I'm on the yard, and I'm talking to a brother who was a recovering addict and alcoholic. And didn't nobody used to sit and talk with him because he was a recovering addict and an alcoholic. Can you hear me, Dr. G?
Yes.
Okay. Because you froze on my end. That's why I had to ask you.
Oh, okay.
So we was sitting there talking, and he said, "Man, I be trying to tell these young guys around here, man, all this time they got on their hands, they want to play basketball, they want to chase boys, they want to get high in the joint. And they need to be in there getting some knowledge with these free books they got. And they got law books, they got history books, whatever you want to learn. Then they got an interlibrary loan where you can get any book you need to get. I don't know why they don't just go on and get their PhD and stop playing."
Three, the third time.
Yeah, so that's called three master knots, right? The third one came in off of a male father line, who was consumed by vices, right? So it's a vice lord knock. So it's a big mama on the father line giving me a confirmation that the big mama message that came off the mother line that was confirmed by my mother was accurate. I didn't know that when it happened. I put that together years later.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm always reflecting on my life and how to be a better person, I keep going over these lessons that I'm learning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of the strangest stuff that happened to me is I would go check a book out in the library, and the book would be so old it don't have an ISBN number, just the title and the author. And I write the title and the author down, read the book, take the book back, go back because I might have wanted to review something else a month later, and the book not there. So then I go ask the librarian, and he said, "We never had that book, and here's not in our records." That used to, and it happened more than several times where I read a book that didn't exist. So then I started asking myself, where in the hell is these books coming from? That they don't exist no more, right? But now in modern, hindsight 2020, when the knowledge was consumed, it caused the Mandela effect, which switched the timeline. And on the other timeline, the same book doesn't exist. It can't be produced on a different timeline. So every
Wow.
time this is happening, I'm experiencing a subtle Mandela effect, never knowing what I experienced because we didn't have a name for it. It wasn't called the Mandela effect at that time.
True.
We were still studying the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
And
The
the
butterfly
butterfly
flaps
effect,
his wings here and then makes it something happen on the other side of the world because of the flutter of the wing. Yeah.
yep. So he flutters his wings in Los Angeles as the energy moves back east around the world. By the time it gets to Japan, it's a full-fledged typhoon. Chain reaction, microcosm, macrocosm effect, right? So in the microcosm, macrocosm, as above, so below, as within, so without. If you want to use universal law to affect change in the world, you apply them to the self as the microcosm, and the reaction takes place in the macrocosm of the external world. It just takes time, the bigger the event is, to manifest into the visual spectrum of the others in the 3D realm. Once you learn this, then you understand how doing real time numerology gematria and what we call it number flipping is actually, when you saying it out your mouth, triggering events to take place in the physical world based on what you've seen in real time and what you know from historical record and how you are looking at the problem in order to solve it. So when my mama used to always tell me, don't never let nobody take none of your brothers and sisters' stuff, I wasn't even the oldest child. Why would she keep telling me that?
Hmm.
She supposed to be telling my oldest brother and my oldest sister, don't let nobody take your brother and sister stuff. She not supposed to be telling that to number 7. I got 6 people that got to go through,
Yeah.
right? But I was born on the 10th. That's why I come in on 10, because my siblings exhausted 1 through 9 already. So why am I going to wait and come? No, I got to come in on 10. So I came in 11-10. That's 11, 2 pillars, 10 toes down on the upright. Sacred seal and 68, right? On an
Mhm.
11, on a 10-15 birth, which is a 7. To the 7th child, it's a knockback. On a perfect alignment of the stars to bring in an old soul that can solve the problems. Anybody can put my birth date in 11-10-68 and put in the time as 10-15 and look at the alignment of the stars
Is
and
that
know
AM or
that
PM?
AM in the morning.
Mhm.
But when they look at the stellar alignment, they're gonna know that that's not a normal reading for, because all of the astrologers that was teaching me astrology, how to read the ephemeris, how to look at a star map, how to triangulate the ground from the stars. I'm learning this from astrologers and astronomers that's been
Mhm.
doing it for years. And they keep telling me the same thing. Your alignment is,
You froze up again. Let me see.
can you hear me?
Well, now I hear you. You get froze for a moment, and so you said
Yep,
they
I
keep
heard as
telling
soon
you
as
about
you
this
said it, so
body.
I know where I stopped at. But
Okay.
these people had keep telling me that my alignment is not normal, right? The only thing that's missing from the calculation is the coordinates to Cook County Hospital by longitude and latitude. And then when I'm the only male child living from that batch of sons that was born. And then what my mama went through giving me birth, they tried to murder my mama in the hospital by giving her the wrong blood that was infected with hepatitis.
Oh, wow.
Right? So when my mother finally passed, it was post transplant, post liver transplant, right? And because now I can remember almost everything that went on when I was born in the delivery room. I can remember the conversations that the doctors was having on the other side of the room, but I can't tell that to regular people because it totally sounds fucking insane.
Well, we not regular people,
Because
so you
most
can tell.
people,
You can tell us.
but but most people don't don't remember being born, so they believe nobody can remember. I remember swimming and doing flips in my mama's stomach.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. For some reason you're breaking up. I think I think
Before
I
2 or
think I
3 years old.
listen. I don't know whether it's my side or your side, but the sound is breaking up. I think you said you remember swimming, and then in your mind, like
Yeah, I remember swimming in my mama's womb doing flips off her stomach.
what?
I remember like being in utero in amniotic fluid doing backflips using my mother's inner uterus as a springboard.
I believe
And
it.
I remember hearing my mama telling my daddy, "This is gonna be a little badass boy here. He monkey flipping all up and down in my stomach." I can't tell nobody that. That's insanity to the regular people.
Well, for a lot of people, Brother Rod, though I used to say this even when I was still preaching that the there's a scripture that talks about before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you and I ordained you a prophet to the nations, and I think it was Jeremiah, and I always told that was just a prototype for everybody who was before they were formed, they were known and they had an assignment that they were supposed to fill. I said, but once you make that decision and say, look, okay, I'm ready, I'm gonna go down, that man, that woman come together, that spark, then I'm gonna inhabit that body that's formed from that. Then I said you float around for maybe 9 months, because I've had preemies, but 9 months in the amniotic fluid, which I would call amnesia juice. I said, and while you in the amnesia juice, you forget what your assignment is, and so your so-called life
That's how I
is
discovered how
one.
to erase our memory.
Right. So your life is one of trying to remember. He said, when you come into your kingdom, remember me, reconnect me to my purpose, to myself. And that was it you who said that the lights they throw in your face are like the white that the men in black do?
Right. Now, this is
Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And the civil priestesses would sync with the queen mother of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And they would come from each tribe,
Mm-hmm.
right? So all of the tribes send one to go learn to be a civil priestess from the great priestess herself, the high priestess, the highest of priestesses,
Mm-hmm.
the great mother, queen of heaven and earth, right? So them being in sync with her, they become her ambassadors to the world because wherever they at, she there.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say in the Bible, wherever you at, the Lord is there also.
Yeah. Where So what about when was the fall of matriarchy? You know what I mean? And what was
That's
the fall of
when
matriarchy?
Alexander usurped Helen
Mm-hmm.
by gaining the Destiny Scroll,
Mm.
surrendering it to his father's line
Mm-hmm.
in order for them to rise up in Rome as a patriarchal empire
Mm-hmm.
that had homosexual philosophy as the base philosophy.
Yeah.
Roman philosophy is the greatest love is between a man and a boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's not correct.
Yeah.
That's exactly opposite of the earth doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
The earth doctrine is the greatest love between a man and a woman in which they produces a child,
Mm-hmm.
right? What we call the great trinity.
Mm-hmm.
Every time a child is born, that's another trinity. That's another three,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the child is a sum total parts of the mother and the father
Mm-hmm.
in character and in deed,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the Sibyls, wherever they went, it was like the Queen of Heaven and Earth was there. She know everything going on wherever they at.
Mm-hmm.
She can see through their eyes, they can see through hers.
All connected.
It's a connected hive link.
Mm-hmm. Now, I see a lot of things as well. That's it. You know, you got these people that saying, "Oh, they putting up things, putting up chemtrails. They're putting up different things to try to block the sun."
They
Now,
were.
mhm, we
They
said,
were.
yeah, they were.
They cleaning that shit up now.
Mm. I guess my question is still, you know, as much as these so-called men try to combat this ascension, or this, you know, this reawakening, so to speak, is there an opposition towards these people?
Yep. Toward the
Hmm.
ones trying to wake everybody up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's automatically going to be an obstacle, resistance.
Hmm.
It's going to be resistance to the ones asleep, not wanting to wake up.
Hmm. Hmm.
Then it's going to be resistance from the ones who don't want us waking nobody up.
Hmm.
Then it's going to be resistance from the ones who swore to fight against us until the end of time.
Hmm.
Right? And they're going to fight to the last man standing.
Hmm. And that I get that that's my question. Who's fighting against them? You know what I'm saying? What is it the opposition that's fighting against them? I guess in our behalf, or is it just the fact that we got to wake up and start to fight them? You know what I'm saying? Or do we have that extra help?
We got all the help we need.
Hmm.
The problem is us becoming consciously aware
Hmm.
of a power shift taking place without the government telling you.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because the energy is in the air and all of the signs are available.
Hmm.
But the people are still in slumber
Hmm.
and still not understanding what they're seeing in front of their face.
Yeah.
And the false narrative is still captivating the audience, keeping them misled.
Yeah. They still in the matrix. They still, you know, in front of the boob tube. You know what I'm saying? And they're still, most of it's
Plugged
still,
in.
yeah, plugged in. Yeah, yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah, because it's like even now, you know, like we said earlier, you know, it seems like there are some major shifts, man. Because I never, you know, I mean, there was cats that you know, I really can't even say on this bigger level, individuals that have this big bullhorn that are speaking out like they are right now. Not, you know, not, uh, you know, I guess maybe in the entertainment, maybe it was more on the political side, but these entertainers and sports athletes that are doing this now, I mean, you can't help but get people's attention on this level. This is for me, this is like something new on this level. You
Yeah.
feel me? I've
Yeah.
never seen
48,
this like this.
48 laws of power say create a compelling spectacle.
Uh-huh.
Right? Hegelian dialectics say start the shit, watch the reaction, and then come with a solution.
Mm.
Right? So all of these things converging together.
Yeah.
The the uh the ancient code of kings.
Mm-hmm.
It say when the conspiracy against the king has been discovered, he dragged the conspirators out in the open
Mm.
before he executes them and publicly read their crimes before the public and lay the conspiracy bare,
Mm-hmm.
so that the public will demand the blood of the traitor.
Yeah.
And then the king so graciously delivers the traitor's head on a silver platter.
Mm.
But we don't remember the ancient code of kings.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let me see. They had another question here. Let me see if I. Oh, here we go. It says, what is the name of the gatekeepers of the Dendora?
I don't know.
Yeah, gatekeepers in the. Actually, I remember names. I remember reading a book that Baba put out talking about the gatekeepers, but I remember even seeing no names on them. But I mean, just the fact that there are gatekeepers, huh? Let's move on to the next one. Oh, this is more of a comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving in frequency of a tribe. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because I mean, that's what you're just saying as far as even dealing with the Sybil, just connecting, together. But yeah, man, that's. Hold on one second. Oh, never mind. That ain't a good one. But yeah, bro. Let me go back here. If y'all haven't already, please, the brother's Cash App is here up here. You know what I'm saying? Please support the good brother. He's doing this, for our behalf to try to wake us up, man. So it's $ SIKAPE. That's his Cash App. Hold on one second. I'm freezing here. Hold on one second. I got another question.
Oh, that's psychic self defense here.
Mm-hmm.
When when you learn how to harness your energy,
Mm-hmm.
your own energy, and to control your energy, you can easily disorient a person with just a look.
Mm.
Right, because you can thrust your energy through your eyes the same as you can thrust your fist to their jaw.
Mm. All right. Can a person reincarnate as their own daughter after dying a few months after giving birth to that child?
It won't be. It will. It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible because every now and then the person can't find a person they're willing to come back through,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll say fuck it, and
Yeah.
then they'll self reincarnate. Right. The child takes up to 9 months in order for their soul to calibrate to a frequency,
Mm.
to lock them into a character of who they are. And they drawing that energy through the DNA from the family line anyway.
Mm.
So if the mother is not present in physical form, it's just a matter of calibrating that energy from the other side to get into this side.
Mm. All right. Do you believe that the year 2050 is the end of a 400-year enslaved period of mental and physical slavery?
They already that's already over.
Mm-hmm.
It was a House resolution commemorating the 400 years back in I think 2018, 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Right, where they acknowledged the 400 years. That's actually a closing of a contract that's known as the biblical contract of the Pope.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It is a question on what you were talking about earlier about we were talking about Egypt and America and the Nile and etc. Because I remember somebody, I can't remember who it was, they were saying that like Egypt was Hollywood, that they made it look all.
That was me,
Oh, Egypt
because
was
that's what it
Hollywood.
was.
Yeah.
It was just to reenact the holy drama.
Uh-huh.
Right, the holy
Mm-hmm.
drama is to keep the memory of the great debauchery in the domain of the public,
Mm-hmm.
so that when we come back and remember who we are, we'll know what the
Mm-hmm.
judgment was and how to render the judgment to the public so that you can resolve the matter at the close of the age.
Mm. All right. Another one. Where do ancestors go when they transition? What realm does the Northern Lights have anything to do with our transition?
Oreo Borealis is the northern lights, and that's a reflection off of the inner earth onto the atmosphere. Um, the fifth dimensional realm, is the realm that we go to between incarnations. The fourth dimensional realm is what we call the dream realm.
Mm-hmm.
But because the fourth and third was collapsed on each other, that's why you have to split your day between the two dimensions.
Mm.
But when you leave your physical form, you recoil back to the fifth dimension unless you done doing your work here. Then you go all the way back up to the 19th.
And I all the way to the top. All right. How much are we a fusion of our parents and a completely different soul in this body?
We go always, because the DNA it seems infinite, but it has a limited number of frequencies for a soul to incarnate into a physical form.
Mm-hmm.
It's only like 4 points on the entire genome that line up to allow certain energy frequencies to come back in.
Mm-hmm.
These frequencies is coming from the union of the two lines, mother line, father line. When they cross, the individual then lets out a frequency and then becomes a composite of both sides of the family.
Mm.
And the fusion is not always the same. Sometimes it's 20% mama, 80% daddy. Sometimes it's 80% mama, 20% daddy. That's when they look at a child and say, you your mama
Yeah,
child.
yeah.
So you your daddy child. They can
Mm-hmm.
look at you and tell, right? That's because you have a controlling percentage of one or the other.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Do you think children of light will incarnate simultaneously when the time is right? Light co-activation of the melanated being. So the children of light is the rainbow children, the indigos. They've been coming in for the better half of 45 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And they are